Congressman-elect George Santos has been exposed for lying about his personal background and his work history. New CNN investigation found in an old campaign bio, Santos claimed to have attended the prestigious Horace Mann School. But Horace Mann had no record of him. And despite Santos saying his mother was born in Belgium, her online obituary says she was born in Brazil.
This is a matter of right versus wrong, lying versus truth.
And in an interview with Semaphore.com, Santos tried to explain his wealth, saying he sold used luxury boats and planes.
His mystery millions that seem to have appeared overnight.
I want to talk about the latest fraud to come out of New York. No, I'm not talking about Donald Trump. I'm talking about George Santos, the fake homosexual, fake Citigroup, fake Brew College, fake Goldman Sachs. Hell, the guy's not even Jewish. He now claims that he meant he was Jew-ish, as in dash, I-S-H. Yeah, that's not a thing.
A question for you all this Friday night. Have you ever described yourself as Jewish? Not Jewish, but Jew-ish. My guess is probably not, especially if you're not actually Jewish. But lying about being Jewish or Jewish and about being the descendant of Holocaust survivors are among the many, many documented and absurd lies that we know of so far from New York's Republican Congressman-elect George Santos. Here is how he tried to defend himself earlier this week.
My heritage is Jewish. I've always identified as Jewish. I was raised a practicing Catholic. I think I've gone through this. Even I've not being raised a practicing Jew. I've always joked with friends and circles, even in the campaign, I'd say, guys, I'm Jew-ish. Remember, I was raised Catholic.
This guy's pretty slimy. But for the new Republican Congress, he's gonna fit in fine. Do you really think Kevin McCarthy is not gonna seat this guy? That's not reality. Until this guy's indicted and convicted, Kevin McCarthy needs his vote. He can't afford to lose one.
Guys, I'm Jew-ish. Yes, he actually said that. And if that isn't enough, it appears that Santos has lied about, well, basically everything. His education, his finances, his employment history, and even the date of his own mother's death. He's now admitted to lying on his resume and apologized for that. But in a normal world, all of these many fabrications might be a huge problem for a politician like Santos. But we live in a post-Trump world. The problem is not how many lies one tells, especially if you're on the right, but which ones the public and especially the GOP base remember or even care about. And by that measure, Santos appears to fit right into the modern GOP.
He's also wanted in Brazil on several charges that he assures us that he's innocent of. Of course, how can he believe a goddamn thing since the guy even lied about his mom dying on 9/11, saying that she died in the West Tower. Dude, she was nowhere near there.
I'm not wrong, am I? At one time in the not-too-distant past, such brazen lying would not have been tolerated even by the GOP. So is this the congressman-elect that the modern GOP deserves?
Yeah, I think so. And look, even in the modern GOP, you saw them say enough to Madison Cawthorn just about a year ago, right? And what was the reason? What was different between Cawthorn and Santos? Well, Cawthorn wasn't useful anymore. Okay? Cawthorn was actually a problem. He was a troublemaker. Meanwhile, Kevin McCarthy needs every vote he can get to be speaker.
Yes.
To get to 218 votes, he needs George Santos desperately. So even this Republican Party that's gotten completely comfortable with charlatans and morons like Herschel Walker and Dr. Oz and all these other freaks that ran in the midterms, even now they might say this guy's a step too far if they didn't need him. But Kevin McCarthy needs him, and Kevin McCarthy has shown that if he needs somebody politically, he's willing to debase himself in order to defend him. We've seen that plenty of times with President Trump, and we're seeing it right now with George Santos.
We are indeed. Victoria, the GOP might try, But it can't deny that without Trump, there would be no George Santos. I mean, here's how Santos himself described his connection to the former president last year. Have a listen.
Growing up as a kid who would walk by Trump Tower and look up and say, Mom, one day I want to have a building with my name on it, you know? and I went to business school because of Donald Trump.
Wow.
I ran for Congress because I thought Donald Trump, if he made it, it was the time for everybody to have an opportunity.
He's making stuff up out of whole cloth.
Indeed, and we know that thanks to reporting from the New York Times, but a lot of people have wondered why the New York Times didn't do this reporting beforehand. He's a New York congressman. A lot of people have wondered where the Democrats were, Victoria, beforehand on this. Where was the Oppo research? I mean, to lose the House because you didn't do well in New York and to lose a seat in New York to this guy, it's pretty embarrassing now in hindsight.
This guy's pretty slimy. But for the new Republican Congress, he's gonna fit in fine. Do you really think Kevin McCarthy is not gonna seat this guy? That's not reality. Until this guy's indicted and convicted, Kevin McCarthy needs his vote. He can't afford to lose one. And Kevin McCarthy's gonna seat him. Because there's no one more slimy than Kevin McCarthy, including billionaires from New York and/or whatever the hell George Santos is. Because apparently, even his money has been funneled into accounts recently. In 2020, he had no money, and by 2021, he's a multimillionaire. Gave his own campaign $700,000. So maybe that's what they'll indict him on. Campaign finance and money laundering. But Republicans seem to not have a problem with that either. I'm Zachariah, Lone Star Liberal. Y'all take it easy.